It's that time of the year again. Tennessee Volunteer fans are fully triggered right now that Hendon Hooker was not a Heisman Trophy finalist and Stetson Bennett was. It's been a crazy time on the internet. Again, there's always something to complain about if you're a Tennessee fan. But Fox Sports analyst Shannon Sharpe says that the best player in college football is not even one of the Heisman finalists that were announced just a couple of days ago. He said on his show, Undisputed with Skip Bayless on Fox Sports, he said the best player in college football is Jalen Carter, number 88, defensive lineman from Georgia. He's better than all 5 guys that went in the first round last year. He's better than the guy that went number 1 overall. Skip, he picked up a grown man and waved him around. He's talking about, of course, the SEC championship game. Jalen Carter picked up Jaden Daniels, held him like a rag doll, held up the number 1 at the same time. It was an all-time moment, all-time picture that we have over on DawgPost. Skip Bayless actually joined in the conversation and said about Stetson Bennett, I won't be mad if Stetson Bennett wins the Heisman Trophy just on career achievements. All he does is make plays. He's a great college quarterback. So the two gave a lot of love to Georgia on Undisputed. I think this was on Monday. But Shannon Sharpe is right. Jalen Carter is arguably the best player pound for pound in college football. I kind of think he is, and we've seen it this year. The numbers aren't completely there. I got those right now. Let's see. 29 total tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections. The guy hasn't even been 100% all year. 70 and 80% Jalen Carter is better than most good players at 100%. The guy makes plays. Ask Hendon Hooker, who he does not want to go up against again. It's Jalen Carter. Ask Jaden Daniels if he ever wants to be picked up like a child again by Jalen Carter. He does not want that. He got hurt, I think, on the first play of the game against Oregon. Battled back injuries. The guy is an absolute freak. Stops the run. Gets after the quarterback. When he's in there, he is an absolute difference maker. Probably would have been a first-round pick if he would have come out last year after just 2 years. I think he's a bona fide top 5 pick. The guy is better at his job, playing defensive line, than Hendon Hooker is at playing quarterback. Or CJ Stroud than playing quarterback. He's better at his position than Blake Corum is at running the football. I think there's only might be one guy in college football who is as good at his job as Jalen Carter is at defensive line, and that's Brock Bowers. I think you could make the argument that those two are pound for pound the 2 best players in college football. Yes, there are lots of good quarterbacks. Bryce Young is really good. Caleb Williams is incredibly talented. CJ Stroud is really good. Max Duggan is really good. Stetson Bennett's really good. None of those guys are the best player in college football. If it's not Jalen Carter, it's Brock Bowers. And I'm not saying that because I cover these guys on a daily basis. I say it because I've watched them play for a while now, and I watch a lot of college football, and there's no one who dominates the way Brock Bowers dominates at tight end. There's no one else that I can think of who does their job better than Jalen Carter, who just dominates every play, makes it look easy. I mean, he's a complete bully out there. And when he's not getting the sack, he's causing pressure. He's causing havoc. He's making it easier for the other guys to come in and make a play. He does his job each and every play, makes it look easy, does it well. And I'm not sure there's another player in college football who does or who makes as much of an impact as he does at their respective position. So, and we can talk about the Heisman real quick. He's obviously not a Heisman finalist because he plays defensive line, and it goes to the flashiest quarterback every year, pretty much. I mean, a couple of years ago, Devonta Smith won it because he had the greatest wide receiver season we've probably ever seen in college football. Joe Burrow absolutely deserved it. But yeah, it's a quarterback award. It's a flashy award. It's an offensive award. We see some running backs win it here and there, but the quarterback makes the plays. And Hendon Hooker, he deserves to be up there, but he has 0% chance of winning. When you get hurt like he did and you lose, 20, 30 points to South Carolina and just drop a giant egg. Now, they didn't lose because of Hendon Hooker. They lost because they gave up 60 points and got run out of the building. But you have to play those final 2 weeks. The Heisman moment comes at the end of the year. And if you don't play in those last 2 weeks and your last memory is of you going down with a season-ending injury and your team loses by 20, 30 points, you're out of the playoff contention, season's over, you're not going to win. As good as he was this year against everyone but South Carolina and Georgia, he was not going to win. So do you really want to give him a participation flight to New York to sit there knowing he's not going to win? No, I mean, Stetson Bennett is that. I don't think he's going to get a first place vote out of this, but if he does, that's one first place vote that would not be given to Hendon Hooker. And I get he had a very good year, but two biggest games against Georgia on the road and against South Carolina on the road, that they'd be in the playoff right now if they beat South Carolina, because they just drilled Vanderbilt in the next game. They would have snuck in there over Ohio State, and they dropped the ball. They blew the opportunity. So when on the biggest stage that he had this year, outside of Alabama, Georgia and South Carolina, he didn't play well. Yeah, he played well against South Carolina. They put up 30 points, but you see what I'm saying? There's a reason he wasn't invited. CJ Stroud, good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. Really good at hitting wide open receivers, though. He's fantastic at hitting wide open receivers that were running towards the end zone already. He's did not look great against Michigan, could not rally that team and keep up with them in that second half. It's going to be tough against Georgia. He's somewhat mobile. He's not a great runner. And if Georgia can keep him in the pocket, and even when he gets flushed, he's not super accurate on the run that I've seen. He's a good quarterback overall, and he does have a really good arm. And he's one of the best quarterbacks that Georgia's going to see this year for sure. He's not better than Caleb Williams, and I don't think he's a better quarterback than Bryce Young either. Stetson Bennett is better than people think. He's had games against, he's never been that great against Florida. We saw what he did against Kentucky, threw an interception against Mississippi State, was not perfect there. So there have been times where he did not look like a Heisman finalist, but he's there, and I think he's earned the right. And I think Hendon Hooker has earned the right as well, but it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen, and you have to be in the mix in the last 2 weeks, and he obviously wasn't. But going back to Jalen Carter, I think it would be great to see Jalen Carter as a finalist. He is one of the best players in college football, and you could make the argument, like I did earlier in the video, that he is pound for pound the best player in college football. I think you can make the case for Brock Bowers, too. I've been making that case all year, that Brock Bowers is better at tight end than just about every other player is at their position across college football. He and Jalen Carter they're 99s. If there was an NCAA game out right now with this season, Brock Bowers is 99, Jalen Carter is 99. Who else is a 99? Caleb Williams, Will Anderson, Bryce Young. They're not in the Heisman Trophy conversation, and they were not on Undisputed, being talked about as the best player in college football. So the takes are wild. This is a hot take season. I don't think it's a hot take to say that Jalen Carter is the best player in college football. Obviously, guys like Shannon Sharpe from the state of Georgia, NFL Hall of Famer, dude knows football, and he thinks Jalen Carter is the best player in college football. And he had that moment. I think that could have been a Heisman moment if he were healthy all year and dominated game after game and just played more. Because when he's in there, he is dominant. And when he's 100%, which I still don't think he is, when he is 100%, nobody in college football is blocking this guy. Nobody. Quick hands. He's insanely quick off the snap. He can bull rush you. He's got a lot of different moves, different ways he can beat one-on-one coverage and get to the quarterback. Dude's fighting off double teams. He's just as good protecting the trenches against the run as he is getting after the quarterback, and makes plays in the biggest moments. Third down, he's always there to make a stop. Third and short, he's getting in the backfield, getting to TFL. Tennessee's backed up in the goal line, right? He's the guy coming out, making a hit on the quarterback, forcing a fumble. Should have been a safety. Still don't know why that wasn't a safety. But the guy makes plays when he's in the game. He is an explosive bowling ball that you can't stop. Should be a top 3 pick in college football, or in the NFL draft. If you're not picking a quarterback and you want a defender, it's between Will Anderson, who I think is going to be very, very good, or Jalen Carter. Give me Jalen Carter. Give me the guy on the interior who can stop the run and get after the passer the way he does. A guy who demands double teams left and right. And if you don't double team him, he's going to beat you. And then he's going to take your quarterback. He's going to pick him up, put him on his shoulder. And he's going to tell everyone that he is number one and the dogs are number one. So just my thoughts. I'm not crazy. If there is a player out there that you think is better at his position than Jalen Carter is at his or Brock Bowers is at his, let me know in the comment section. I can't think of someone. I really can't. Those two might be your two best players in college football. And I cover the team, but I also know what I'm talking about. And I watch these guys, and every time you watch them on a particular play, they do their job. Whether Brock Bowers is getting the ball or not, he's doing his job. He's making a block. If he's not getting to the quarterback, Jalen Carter is still doing his job and making it easier for everyone around him. They're fun guys to watch, and I think they could be the two best players in college football. What do you think? Drop a comment in the section below. Love to look through those. Tell me if I'm crazy or not. I don't think I am. But comment below. Thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I will see you over on Dog Post.